fine. So we completed locator control, serial control, lot control. The other inventory control is revision control. We'll see what is this revision controls. It's very simple to understand. So when you are dealing with any item, certain items we may maintain with sort of versioning. Okay, if you take example some software products, software. So when I talk about our applications, earlier we have a version called as 11i. Now we have a later release 12. Now it is a fusion. Or else within the fusion itself, if you take the versions we have within the fusion, release 8, release 9, release 10, 11, 12. Current version is 13. So this is how for software we can maintain the just as a product, the vendor will upgrade some features and they'll add some new features. They'll just altogether they may come up with a new module. By because of these reasons, they do the revisioning for the product. The revision, once they do the revisioning of the product, you take example as a software product. For that, they come up with the new version. They'll just for identification purpose, the whatever the revisioning they are doing, once they do the revisioning of the product by enhancing something or by adding something, that has to be identified. The changes need to be identified wherever we did some changes to address those changes of the product and all. So the company ideally they come up with the new version. In the same way, if you take any product, the product point of view also just we come across. Take simple example, mobile phone. If you look at mobile phones, you can find with a different versions. That means it's all about revision. Revision control means maintaining the version. Okay, maintaining the version for the, it could be software product or any item. Okay, software product or any item. So simply you can take, if any item is going to have a multiple versions, in that case we can handle that sort of products with the revision control, where this would be additional tracking for the item if it is applicable. Okay, so with the help of revision control we can maintain the multiple versions for item. Okay, simply we can maintain the version for the item. That could be software product or it could be physical item, anything. If we take simple example, iPhone, Apple introduced iPhone in the 2007, and when they introduced that iPhone 2007, they released with the version of 1, iPhone 1, and later they released 2, 3, 4, and now the current version is 12, which we call as XR. Okay, iPhone XR, that is actual version is 12 in terms of if they are going to maintain this information in their books. Okay, they just go with that version called as 12, iOS 12, that is software. As well as in terms of product, they have a version called as iPhone XR. Prior to that they released XS. Prior to that they released iPhone X. Before that iPhone 8, 8 plus. So this is how we have a different versions for the product. So when that still, if you look at this iPhone, Apple is selling iPhone 6, 7, 8 and 7 plus, 8 plus, X, XS, XR. That means still they are selling. That means they receive the material into inventory. When they are receiving some quantity of these iPhones into their warehouse, they have to address that stock is belongs to which version. Again, when they are selling to the customer, definitely there should be an option to track which version of the product they are selling to the customer. Based on when customer is asking for iPhone X or say iPhone 10, they should be able to identify how much quantity of the stock they have within their inventory, and there should be process of picking that specific product is same but version is different. There should be some mechanism which will help them to pick that specific item or to track that items in terms of receiving into inventory or selling to the customer. So in these cases, version concept is very helpful for any product. So as per system, what we do is when we receive some quantity, the item would be iPhone, but when we are receiving, so we have to specify that iPhone version is what. When we are selling also, based on the customer demand, we'll track how much quantity is available. Accordingly, we can sell to the customer. For this sort of tracking and it's all about receiving and selling in between. For tracking purpose, this version would be useful since the product need to be maintained with specific version, since that is originally belongs to particular version. That could be software or product item. Okay, now we'll see how to set up the different versions for the items when you are receiving the transaction. When we are just issuing the material, how this version will be helpful and how this can be tracked in the system. We'll go through it. So when you talk about this version, we can set this version at organization level. Even you can set it item master organization, but reality, so this we maintain at organization level. You can set up for item master as well as child organization, but ideally whatever we set at child organization level, that is the one which we use to receive the to transact the material. So we'll just go through that process. First we'll see how to set up version control. Set version control or revision control at inventory organization, and we'll create one item for which item we require this revision control or call as version control. We'll just create new item. After creating the new item, for that item we have to set up this version control and say set up version control for item, and say enable revision control for item. Okay, so after this we'll create miscellaneous transactions. We'll create one miscellaneous receipt and a miscellaneous issue so that we can understand when we are receiving the material how we can specify that item is belongs to which version. When we are issuing the material, how we can address with this version also we can understand. Okay, we'll see these points. We will first navigate to inventory organization. Setup and maintenance. Go to project. So ERP tree implementation project. Inventory organization. We created multiple inventory organizations. We can go with any one of the organization. We'll just select dollars inventory organization. Click on manage organization parameters. So within this inventory organization parameters under general tab, we can see starting version. Okay, starting version. So when we are going to create the version for specific item, this would be the very initial version, but there you can maintain how you require, but one you have to set as a default. I'll say starting version is 7. Maybe you are going to apply this logic for iPhone, so I'm just specifying starting version as a 7, and if you want to maintain the versioning from the 1, you can just give the starting version as a 1. Done. So save and close. Even you can set up this at master organization level also, but not required. You can set at this child organization. That would be enough. Fine. We set the version control at inventory organization level. Now we'll go and create the item. We'll create item and we'll assign to dollars inventory organization. Go to item definition. The task is product information management. So create item. Select item class. Select template. Say OK. Apple iPhone. I think we created an item with the same name. So to differentiate, I'll give the name description as a ERP tree Apple iPhone. Item status is active. Life cycle phase is active. Even those are not required. Since those fields are mandatory, so we are selecting the life cycle phase information. Specify unit of measurement, how you will be measuring this item as each, and we can go to associations to assign this item to our inventory organization. Click on add. Find our inventory organization, so that is dollars inventory. Select, say apply and done. Fine. So we created item and we assigned to our inventory organization. I will say save and close. Fine, we created item. Now you find the same item, manage items. So we given the description as a ERP tree Apple iPhone. You can search, you don't need to write the entire description. Now this item is created within the item master organization and assigned to dollars inventory. So against this dollars inventory organization, click on the item. So here, if you notice, before you open this page, once you select this item, system is showing this revisions. Okay, so the starting revision for this item is 7. That means based on the inventory organization. So for this inventory organization, dollars inventory organization, within the organization parameters we given, starting revision is 7. The same system is displaying here. You can just click on the item number, it will open the definition. Okay, the same, this is the starting revision. Fine. Now to maintain the different versions are called as revisions, go to actions and select manage revisions. You may write the description for this. So iPhone 7, click on add, place cursor here. iPhone 8. So same date you cannot give, the system won't accept. You have to give the future date. The logic is at a time you cannot have a multiple items when you are normally dealing with the items, right? So click on add. There could be a case where just multiple version of items are available, you are taking into your inventory, still system won't accept to take the different revisions or different versions with the same effective date. Okay, always you have to take next date at least. So this is iPhone 9, don't accept with the today date or the date which already we used. Okay, there has to be future date. No issues, we can take 7th. Next version is 10, or you can write as a X. Here you can write iPhone X. Okay, this is how you can define the version for the item. Done. Okay. So save and close. There is an effective cannot be backdated. But not backdating, right? 5, 6, 7, 9. We're not at all backdating. What's wrong with this? Find no issues. Those 3 versions would be enough to test. Okay, we created a version for this item. Now we have to enable it. Okay, now we created a version. If you are going to record the transaction, system won't display and it won't ask us this as a mandatory. First of all, it won't open the version field also, say revision field. So what we have to do is we have to set this version control as yes. Go to specifications tab, go to inventory, and here we have one attribute called as revision control. Set revision control as yes. then system will make this revision selection as a mandatory when you receive the material and when issue the material if revision is not applicable for the specific item. So save and close. Okay, done. So we define the revision and we enable the revision for item. And go to miscellaneous transactions. So inventory management. Go to task list. So create miscellaneous transactions. So select our inventory organization, that is dollars. So miscellaneous receipt. First we'll receive the material into inventory. Click on add. So item is, we give it the description, right? The item number we are not sure. But this is the item. Here you can see the item revision 7. Starting revision is 7. Yes, this is the item. Select this item. Now when you select this item, since revision control is applicable for this item, system is opening this revision field. It's a mandatory. First you have to select the revision, then only system will allow you to select sub inventory. Okay. Say we are receiving whatever the, say we are receiving 100 quantity of iPhones, but those iPhones has version called as a 9. So select it. Now you can specify the sub inventory, that iPhones version 9 you are receiving into which sub inventory you can specify. iPhone sub inventory, how much quantity, say 100 quantity, and specify the account. Search, select, and say OK. Say submit. Or else you can add one more line. Complete a transaction. We'll just create one more transaction with a different version of the item. Miscellaneous receipt. So we're receiving version called as 8 iPhones, and 50 quantity we are receiving. You can go with any one of the account, just for testing. We'll accept. Okay, done. We received 100 quantity, the version 9, and 50 quantity with version 8. Now go to on hand quantity availability. You can find out that product with a version wise quantity. Okay, system will display that item quantity you have, how much with a version 8 and version 9. So item is, I think This is the one. So now you can see clearly. So this item total quantities available is 150. Out of 150, 50 quantity is related to revision 8, nothing but version 8, and 100 quantity stock is available with the revision 9. When we are going to issue the material to the customer by following the sales order process, or directly if you want to perform the transaction within the inventory, so to issue the material also you have to specify the version, which version of the item you are going to issue. Go to miscellaneous issue. So select item. Say this item we want to issue. Now revision is mandatory. You have to specify whether you are going to issue which version of the iPhone. Say we want to issue version 9. So select sub-inventory from which sub-inventory you want to issue. So within this we have 100 quantity with this revision, and within this sub-inventory, out of that we want to issue 25 quantity. Search. Say okay. So done. This is how just you can define the versions for the item, and when you are receiving the material you can specify when you are issuing also. By addressing the version you can issue the material, and as a part of on hand quantity also you'll have an option to track the items with a specific revision, or call it as version. Ideally just the naming convention they given as a revision, but mostly we use this name as a version. For version controlling purpose we can use this revision control within the inventory. Okay. Yeah. So done. So those are the inventory controls. Now we have a inventory counting methods: physical inventory counting and cycle counting.